Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. For over 4 decades, Pakistan's missiles have targeted India. And now they could target the United States as well. And that's when the game changes, it seems. Because on the 18th of December, the United States announced sanctions on 4 Pakistani entities who are contributing to Pakistan's ballistic missiles program. Well, you would remember that the United States looked the other way over the last few decades as Pakistan developed a nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles program. Pakistan's nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles were built with Chinese assistance. China, in fact, supplied Pakistan with blueprints of nuclear weapons and is also believed to have tested a weapon for Pakistan in the early 1980s. It later supplied Pakistan with ballistic missiles and the means to make them. But in the 21st century, Pakistan became a frontline state in the war against terror, first under President George Bush and later President Barack Obama. Pakistan was designated a major non-NATO ally by the US, which needed Pakistan for its war in Afghanistan. But today, the United States is no longer fighting in Afghanistan, and Pakistan is the only Islamic country with a nuclear weapon arsenal and the ability to deliver those bombs using intermediate range ballistic missiles. It could potentially threaten the United States in the long run. Let me quote what the US Deputy NSA John Feiner said just last week. Pakistan has developed increasingly sophisticated missile technology from long-range ballistic missile systems to equipment that would enable the testing of significantly large rocket motors. And if these trend lines continue, Pakistan will have the capability to strike targets well beyond South Asia, he said. What are these trend lines that the United States is talking about? And by when will Pakistani missiles be able to target the continental United States? Joining me to discuss this are 2 of the foremost experts in this field. Dr. Sudhir Mishra, a DRDO missile scientist who was former CEO of BrahMos Aerospace. And I also have with me Lieutenant General P. Ravi Shankar, former DG Artillery, who's also involved in research into hypersonic weapons. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show.
Good afternoon.
Thanks a lot.
Dr. Mishra, I want to start by asking you this. What really are the building blocks for an intercontinental ballistic missile project, of a kind which is over 10,000 kilometers? The one that would make the United States very worried about a country that develops them?
Actually, any intercontinental ballistic missile needs to have large and powerful rockets.
Yes.
And the propellants, large propellant manufacturing facilities and capabilities.
Right.
To prepare the rockets for launch.
Right.
And the second important thing is that the mobile launchers,
Yes.
which will be able to move the missile from one place to another, if it is a land system.
Right.
The third is the guidance system,
Right.
which will enable the missile to fly over so much of distance without deviating from the path.
Right.
The third important thing is the warhead.
Right.
They would prefer that if it is a multiple re-entry warhead,
Yes.
then this will give a completely different kind of capabilities.
Right.
And apart from not only the manufacturing, the testing and the qualification facilities are very important.
Right.
So they are very important part of development of any ICBM.
Right. Absolutely. So, thanks for setting it up, setting our discussion up, Dr. Mishra. The fact that you've given this whole range of capabilities that Pakistan obviously possesses to now threaten the United States, which is why they've imposed sanctions on this. General Shankar, we've been over this many times in the past. The fact that Pakistan has a very robust, ballistic missiles program. They may not have enough money to feed the population or, pay salaries, but they seem to have a very robust missile program that would give them the capability to strike North America. How valid are these American fears that for the first time they've actually imposed sanctions on possibly a major non-NATO ally, as the US called Pakistan?
Look, the sanctions are very, very valid. The fears also are very valid. Why? Pakistan has operated ballistic missiles and cruise missiles and all kinds of missiles for quite some time.
Right.
Hitherto, the range of these missiles was up to the Indian subcontinent
Yes.
and beyond. But today they are testing rocket motors which are larger with better capability. And if you can manufacture these rocket motors of the size which are required, which, as Dr. Sudhir Mishra pointed out, you have cause to worry.
Right.
Right? And the technology for this and the wherewithal for this is available with them to them through the Chinese.
Right.
Because it's the Chinese who did the proliferation earlier.
Yes.
And also the North Koreans, because
Right.
they got the missile technology from the North Koreans,
Yes.
which again started from China,
Right.
and the nuclear technology from China directly,
Yes.
which you mentioned in the opening thing. Now they have this capability. The fact also is that there's a huge expansion of their navy.
Right.
If you remember, a few days back,
Yes.
our naval chief also said that, and a lot
Right.
of submarine capability coming up.
Yes.
And that's going to be, all this is going to be situated at Gwadar along with the Chinese capability.
Right. Right.
So this is the second aspect, are they
Yes.
going in for a triad?
Right.
The third aspect is that, they have tested out MIRV capability.
Yes.
So that capability also kicks in. And the fourth capability, which is of concern to me, is the fact that though Pakistan does not have a space capability,
Right.
because if you have to have an intercontinental ballistic missile capability,
Yes.
you need space capability.
Right.
And that space capability they don't have.
Right.
That space capability will be given to them on a plate by China.
Right. Absolutely.
So
yes.
once you put all these three things together,
Yes.
it's a threat. Now
Right.
the threat is just not to the USA alone, it's
Right.
to India also,
Absolutely.
right? And it goes beyond the Indian subcontinent into the Indian Ocean region.
Right. If you look at it,
So
I was just
you're-
looking at the ranges, General Shankar. It actually encompasses Diego Garcia, their Shaheen 3 missile,
Yeah.
and very interestingly, all of Israel as well. If you look at
Yes.
the range, so would Pakistan be the only Islamic country today which, of course, has the nuclear weapon, but now has the ability to deliver those
Deliver.
weapons?
Yes. Yeah. When you compare it with Iran, Iran doesn't have that capability.
Yes.
And one of the things which has come out in this recent Iran-Israel war is Iran doesn't have the ISR capability.
Yes.
I keep talking of this ISR capability always. If you don't have the ISR capability to stitch all these things together,
Right.
the whole capability is a waste. But we know Pakistan does not have a space program,
Right.
but China has. And in this, it's not only, this is, Pakistan is a cat's paw.
Yes.
Now, China is using this cat's paw. So far, it had used it against India.
Right.
Now, it will use this as a cat's paw against USA.
Very,
also.
very interesting observation, General Shankar. The fact that China had this one cat's paw against the South Korea and Japan, which was North Korea. Now it's got Pakistan in the south, which is used against India. And of course, you're saying it could also use it against the United States as well. That's a
Yes.
very interesting observation.
Yeah. Now, when you say the United States assets are in the Gulf
Yes.
and in Diego Garcia.
Right.
And of course, it augments Chinese capability in the Indian Ocean region.
Right.
And it challenges India's dominance of the Indian Ocean region. Then, of course, we also need to understand if North Korea can proliferate
Right.
missile technology and nuclear technology to, Pakistan.
Yes.
Pakistan can do the same thing to Bangladesh.
Right. Okay.
And which means that Bangladesh tomorrow might, given the bonhomie which you see today
Yes.
between Bangladesh and Pakistan,
Right.
there's a new chapter opening up
Right.
And also factor in that if the submarine capability which they're expanding slowly turns into a triad capability,
Right.
we need to rethink the whole affair.
Right, absolutely. A very, very expansive array of threats you've outlined, General Shankar. And that's the reason I keep coming back to you, because you have the perspective that few others have. But Dr. Mishra, we all know the fact that Pakistan's nuclear arsenal and indeed its missile arsenal is imported. Your colleagues in the DRDO have literally intercepted and studied those shipments on board that merchant ship that came in the late 90s, if I remember correctly, which was coming in from North Korea to Pakistan. So we know all of these capabilities that Pakistan has, the ballistic missile capabilities from North Korea and from China. Is Pakistan trying to become another North Korea in South Asia, another regional headache which uses its nuclear weapons and its missiles to extract concessions from other countries of the world?
I completely agree, Sandeep. In fact, Pakistan is very well known for the proliferation of nuclear and missile technology.
Right.
And if you look at their political, economic, defense, social, educational system, it is
Yes.
completely collapsed.
Right.
And this is beyond rejuvenation.
Right.
And their only hope is to become North Korea.
Right.
And this North Korea model has completely impressed them. They feel that this kind of model where they can blackmail rest of the world and adding it to the religious rhetoric and frenzy, it will give them enough capability to blackmail rest of the world. So this is one thing. The second is Pakistan has always tried to steal, whether if it comes to the nuclear technology or the missile technology. Nuclear, you know that their program has been stolen from the Europe and the Canada. And the missile, they have taken help of North Korea, China, and surprisingly, Ukraine also.
Yes. And Belarus, if I may add. They've also used Belarus for those launchers, those mobile missile launchers as well. There were some sanctions on Belarusian entities.
Yeah, and interestingly, you see, the Shaheen is only 2,700 to 3,000 kilometer capability.
Right.
Whereas the distance from Pakistan to Israel is around 3,400, 3,500 kilometers.
Right.
So what they want to do is they want to threaten Israel with the nuclear attack. This is number one.
Right.
But Shankar told that Dua Garcia and I tell you, the whole Europe also they want to threaten. And the model is very simple.
Yes.
Become another North Korea, ask for the money, ask for the funding, ask for the food. It is such a pitiable thing. And it's very true that Pakistan is, earlier the other countries have used Pakistan against India.
Yes.
Now China will use Pakistan against US and other developed world.
Right.
Very true.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good model. I mean, this North Korean model that Pakistan seems to be following, that you become a global headache and then extract concessions from them, which is the likely course ahead, it seems like. But General Shankar, explain to us that why does Pakistan really need missiles that have a range of 3,000 kilometers? If you're looking only at India, then you can cover India, the entire Indian subcontinent, which they have with a range of about 2,000 kilometers. Why do they want a missile that has a range of over 3,000 kilometers? And as the US was mentioning, they're building larger rocket motors, which would suggest they have a program for ICBM capability, which is 5,500 kilometers. Why would the Pakistanis need all of this?
See, we must understand all these weapons are weapons of strategic significance.
Right.
And they're not tactical or operational in nature.
Yes.
They give power to a nation.
Right.
This capability is probably the way for Pakistan to revive itself in the Muslim world and as a frontline state.
Right.
Whose front line is a different story.
Yes.
Earlier, it was the front line for USA against
Yes.
in Afghanistan. Today, it might be a front line for China against the rest, or
Yes.
it might, that's a shady way to go.
Right.
But it's all about revival of power.
Right.
And this philosophy they've brought down from China because China believes, their expansion of their nuclear capability gives them power
Yes.
in the global order.
Right.
So Pakistan, which is today in the dumps, seeks
Yes.
this capability to go up the value chain.
Right.
Second, North Korea and China, I have always argued, follow a strategy of nuclear coercion and missile-based coercion.
Right.
Okay, and they have been using missile power as a coercive tool of statecraft.
Right.
So if they do use, isn't it time for Pakistan to also start using?
Absolutely. As
the
Dr. Mishra
logical thing.
mentioned, borrowing from the North Korean playbook.
Yeah, it's just the right time. And so this is a strategy of coercion with which we have to deal. That brings me to one more point, and it's a very important point.
Yes.
The point is that, look, it's time India, USA, and Israel
Right.
recognize this common threat
Right.
and start working, on a common platform, how to negate it.
Right. Very interesting observation there again, General Shankar. I'm going to ask Dr. Sudhish Mishra this. This three countries which have a problem with Pakistan's missile and nuclear arsenal, that's India, Israel, and the United States. Dr. Mishra, all three countries, India has already been in the crosshairs of Pakistan's nuclear weapons program for the last 4 decades. Israel, as we've just discovered, is possibly the next country on that list, and the United States eventually, a decade from now. What is the via media for these three countries to come together and tackle Pakistan's nuclear weapons program, Dr. Mishra?
You see, before we take this question, I would like to add that statecraft of coercion by a bankrupted country.
Yes.
I think this can be titled for your new book.
Right. Statecraft of coercion. I'm taking that down. Yes.
By bankrupted country.
By bankrupted country, yes.
By bankrupted country. You see, how to handle this, such kind of thing can be handled only by the defense diplomacy.
Right.
And of course, there is a problem with the Pakistan. The problem is they are completely economically finished.
Right.
They know it very well.
Yes.
And they would be needing some help to feed their countrymen and provide the basic amenities.
Right.
And as long as they get it, they would be fine. Socially, they will not implode.
Right.
You see, it's a good idea to ensure that no country implodes. We have seen Bangladesh imploding in our neighborhood.
Yes.
We also have seen Sri Lanka undergoing an economic crisis.
Right.
We don't want Pakistan to implode, because if it implodes, it will create a lot of problems, and it's a nuclear power. So we have to ensure that economically it is secured. Number one.
Right.
Number two, Pakistan has to ensure that India means a peaceful neighbor. We never want to, merge Pakistan with India. We are happy with whatever we have.
Right.
And this has been conveyed at the World Forum by our Prime Minister also.
Yes.
That we are looking for peaceful world.
Right.
Third is that, Pakistan has to come to peace with itself. It will not come from outside. It has to come from inside.
Right.
How to make it from inside? This they have to discover, they have to find out.
Right.
The solution will not come from outside, it will come from inside. But their emphasis, their wish to project themselves as a Islamic power, which is having the nuclear capability, this wish has to be somehow suppressed. This
Right.
has to be told to them that it's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable, of course. Dr. Mishra,
Yes,
let me ask General Shankar this. I mean, how, General Shankar, how would joint action between the United States, Israel, and India play out? These are three countries that are threatened by Pakistan's growing nuclear and missile arsenal. The United States is the most recent entrant into this club. Israel a few years back when the Shaheen 3 became operational, and today, and India has always been there, and today is the United States. What possible measures can these three countries adopt? And firstly, and I wanted to ask you this as well, do sanctions really work? The kind of sanctions that the United States has put in, can they hold Pakistan's missile arsenal, freeze it at 2024 levels?
First and foremost, sanctions won't work. Let's be very clear, they have not worked. Historically, they've never worked, and
Right.
it will not work against Pakistan also.
Right.
That's the first part. The second part is, it's as a fourth afterthought, it's not only Israel, India, and USA which are at risk. Even
Yes.
the rich Gulf countries are at risk
Right.
because they'll be blackmailed to bankroll Pakistan. Let's not forget that, because this
Yes.
gives you the power to say, okay, now cough up money.
Right.
And revive my economy and everything. So
Right.
it becomes a bit of a lethal affair.
Yes.
Now, how do you defang? Ultimately, you have to defang Pakistan.
Right.
I mean, as simple as that. How do you defang Pakistan by, and sever its connection with China?
Yes.
That's the major problem.
Right.
Okay. And for that, you don't have any straight solutions. You can't appeal to Pakistan and say, please don't develop your missile systems.
Right.
They'll just laugh it off. And we have to also recognize that we are dealing with two Pakistan.
Yes.
One Pakistan is the bankrupt nation of teeming millions,
Right.
right? And the other is a rich army
Yes.
with a whole lot of capabilities.
A rich army with a
Now,
very
these two things we
crooked
have
feudal
to-
elite, which is immune to all of these sanctions
Yes,
and
the feudal
hardships.
elite, all these sanctions and all that. So you have to target them somehow. You have to target their nuclear weapon systems and their complexes
Right.
in some manner. And of course, their entire story of missile production centers and all that.
Right.
And the way I look at it, it's only hybrid measures which will work ultimately.
Right.
And if India, USA, and Israel sit together, I'm sure we'll think a way out.
Right. Absolutely. And those are
And more
ways
than that,
you-
I can't even state on this open channel.
Yes. General Shankar, I'm sure there's some interesting solutions you have which you don't want to discuss with us. But Dr. Mishra, the US has imposed sanctions. That's a reality now. Can these sanctions freeze Pakistan's missile development at 2024 levels, or is it only a matter of time before it actually becomes a full-fledged ICBM fielding state?
I completely agree with General Shankar. The sanctions will not work.
Right.
The sanctions, there would be some solution to bypass them.
Right.
There is a China which would be very
Yes.
happy to provide the
Right.
capabilities
Yes.
to Pakistan. And the secondly, you never know. They might have already acquired the design, development, and manufacturing capabilities.
Right.
Because the military, they always think 5 years, 10 years ahead of the present time.
Yes.
So the sanctions will not work. What will work is a coercive diplomacy
Right.
by the developed world against Pakistan.
Right.
And this coercive diplomacy has to be added with the economic support
Right.
that possibly may work.
Right.
And you see, as we rediscovered that there are two Pakistan, one developed,
Yes.
the second one is Hungry Pakistan.
Right.
Hungry Pakistan can be taken in a way which I suggested, and the developed Pakistan, I mean
Yes.
the military Pakistan,
Yes.
that can be taken care of by blocking their bank accounts.
Yes.
There are many ways to
Absolutely.
handle their
No, very, very good observation there,
cross
Dr. Mishra. The
problems.
fact that, Pakistan, which is, we used to call a regional headache, has now become an international migraine, or at least threatens to be an international migraine when it starts threatening the United States and European countries with its missiles and nuclear weapons. But great points there from this discussion with General Ravi Shankar and Dr. Sudhir Mishra. The fact that coercive diplomacy and harsh economic sanctions are required to tackle one of two Pakistans that exists today. There is a poor, underdeveloped Pakistan which has no say in its in which way the country is developing, and the other is, of course, the developed Pakistan, the feudal elite, the Pakistan military industrial complex that actually controls the narrative, and which is the reason why the United States has taken the first step. What are the next steps going to be? This is a story that we're going to be tracking very closely, because what happens in Pakistan impacts the whole world. Thank you very much for joining us, General Shankar and Dr. Sudhir Mishra. Allu Arjun is the star of one of the biggest Indian blockbusters of all time. Pushpa 2 became the fastest film to cross 1,000 crore in just a week. But now the lead star of Pushpa, Allu Arjun, is under fire. He was arrested for the stampede in a theatre in Hyderabad on the 4th of December. And now a political slugfest has erupted, with a minister from the ruling Congress in Telangana demanding an apology from the superstar, and the Union Minister of State for Home, Bandi Sanjay Kumar, accusing the Telangana Chief Minister of maligning the actor's image and hurting the Telugu film industry. Joining me to discuss this are film journalist R. Nagendra Kumar, who's known Allu Arjun for several years, and A. Sai Shekhar, senior journalist. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. You know, I must ask you this, Nagendra, that film stars have been involved in accidents before, you know, either deliberately or unknowingly. Tell us about this case. Why has this become so politicized? You have two political parties jumping in, possibly a third one as well, the AIMIM as well. Why is this, you know, what seemed to be a very tragic and very unfortunate incident of two people losing their lives in a stampede? Why has this become so politically charged? Is it because Allu Arjun has some kind of political connection? What's the issue here?
No, he doesn't have any political for that matter whatsoever. He's a separate man. He has never had any kind of interaction with political parties. Only once he went for an election campaign for his friend somewhere in Nandyal in Andhra Pradesh.
Right.
But here, in this, what has exactly happened here is the incident happened on the day of the premiere show.
Yes.
And that incident, you know, took a lot of roots into other aspects like politicization.
Right.
More importantly, what has sparked up the whole controversy herein is that, you know, when KTR has, you know, he has referred that nobody knows you.
Yes.
No, he was addressing Mr. Ravant Reddy sir,
Right.
and he was telling that nobody knows you. Even the film stars are not identifying. They are not remembering your name.
Right.
He said it in somebody. That has really sparked up the whole controversy here.
Right.
That was the first stage.
Right. You're referring to that. You're referring to that success, you know, meeting where Allu Arjun seemed to forget the chief minister's name, and he took a pause, and then he resumed, and then he thanked the chief minister. So that became a political issue.
Yes, that became a political issue, because I tell you one thing, whether, you know, nobody intentionally forgets anybody's name.
Right.
You know, it's a natural on dais when somebody is completely inundated with excitement and in complete happiness, because the film had really hit very hard on box offices in the beginning days itself. No, he must have forgotten about the name. That's the actual thing that happened.
Yes.
But, you know, when it was completely derogated and, you know, when it was ridiculed by other party member, by KTR, that became a very big issue here. That was the first stage. The whole controversy sparked off.
Right.
The next thing, you know, the total things are going haywire, out of control in Hyderabad from the point of Allu Arjun, because he must have not conducted a press meet when he was on an interim bail.
Yes.
You know that. That too, he told that no police officer has informed him.
Yes.
Okay, he must have said that in complete language. You know, he was so emotional. He was completely upset when he sat in front of the media.
Yes.
In fact, you know, it looked as though he was moving to tears also.
Yes, yes, a very emotional press conference. But you know, I want to bring Sai Shekhar in on this. Sai Shekhar, we saw that press conference conducted by Allu Arjun a few days back, where he really apologized for what had happened, and he said that the police hadn't contacted him. But then you had the Telangana police coming back with a very well-made film and an equally emotive appeal, where you had the police officer standing there and saying that, look, we tried to warn him several times, but he didn't leave the hall. Why is this, this very interesting, state of play right now with Allu Arjun in the center? Is there a political game behind all of this, or is it just the police following the law of the land?
I completely agree with Nagendra Kumar's observation that the ignition came from KTR's tweet referring to Allu Arjun's faux pas, that he took a pause. I don't say he has forgotten the name of the chief minister. He was actually overwhelmed by the response the movie Pushpa 2 has evoked across the length and breadth of India.
Right.
And he was actually thanking the chief minister and the Telangana government for allowing the benefit show with a hiked price point. And he was thanking the honorable chief minister, and then he took a pause for a while, and then he referred to the name of the chief minister. And I don't think Revanth Reddy is so silly to take offense to the pause taken by the film star. That is not the issue, number one.
Right.
Number two, chief ministers, then the government started acting, the police started acting, and the police version and the public, the Allu Arjun's version, everything has come out in the into the public domain.
Yes.
And see, the moment Allu Arjun's version has come out, it all became controversial for the simple reason that police were sticking to their guns, suggesting that we tried to persuade the theater manager to have Allu Arjun leave the place.
Right.
And in fact, I find the theater management to be completely irresponsible for the simple reason that they should have really followed it up with police in a proper manner. The police are saying that the permission was rejected. In such case, the management should have taken it up with the higher ups and made arrangement. And I have one question. Why should Allu Arjun go to a congested theater like Sandhya Theatre? Because I also had been to that theater some 20 years ago. It's really congested and claustrophobic, boss.
Right.
So Allu Arjun, the theater management shouldn't have let Allu Arjun come there. And Arjun could have. Hyderabad is a very big and happening city and a very ultra-modern city, and it has large screens and large theaters. Allu Arjun should have chosen another theater to go and watch the movie instead of this theater, which is in a crammed place, and the theater itself is completely crammed, number one. You are saying political angle. Is there any political angle? I think once KTR espoused the cause of Allu Arjun, the Congress has taken umbrage and started attacking it from their standpoint. And the matter is in court. The court has granted him bail. And once that is done, nobody should speak anything about a matter that is sub judice. But then the chief minister, when the AIMIM MLA has raised this question, the chief minister has responded to him on the floor of the assembly. So here who is superior, court or legislature? We don't know. This controversy has always been raging in India for the last 75 years. So the forum which the chief minister has used to express his views is a superior body as far as public life is concerned. Not that judiciary is any less. So chief minister made his point on the floor of the assembly, and Allu Arjun should have left it there. I don't know who has advised him to go for a press conference, and then he started talking from a prepared text, frequently poring over the paper that he brought along with him. And he says, I have no grouse against anyone. I am not finding fault with anyone in spreading canards against me. He is actually responding to the observations made by the Chief Minister Revanth Reddy.
Right.
Which means the issue that has prompted Allu Arjun to conduct a press conference was the Chief Minister's statement on the floor of the House.
Right.
So Allu Arjun should not have trespassed the jurisdictions of legislature and also the judiciary. But then he is named as an accused number 11 and he was arrested. And it all seemed, Allu Arjun also may not have any vicarious responsibility in the unfortunate incident that claimed one life of a mother, and her son was maimed and is still, grappling with life and death in the hospital. So, and then Allu Arjun has announced a compensation of 25 lakhs.
Yes.
A movie has made, which has made more than 2,000 crores.
Right.
He should have been a little more generous and then reached out to the family. He did not, he doesn't have to, because his advocates might have advised him. His father is there. His father, Mr. Arvind, who controls almost 50% of the theaters in the state. He should have reached out to the family, announced a bigger compensation, and taken the family along immediately. And so many film stars coming and calling on Allu Arjun also definitely has rubbed salt on the angry Congress.
On the Congress, and of course the police.
Naturally.
But Nagendra Kumar, Sai Shekhar, sorry to interrupt you, but Nagendra Kumar, this Allu Arjun also comes from a very well-connected film family, which has also got members active in politics. I mean, the Allu Konidela family is possibly the most powerful film family in India. If you look at it, the number of superstars and producers that it has, 4 superstars in one family, I think there's no family in the world which has 4 very, very popular superstars. And his uncle, Pawan Kalyan, is a minister. He's the deputy chief minister in Andhra Pradesh. He's in alliance with the BJP. You think all of these factors can actually contribute to making this a bigger controversy than what it already is?
No, it is not like that. It has nothing to do with the Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Pawan Kalyan, or with somebody else, or with somebody else. The whole thing started unnecessarily growing so big,
Right.
And things are all going in complete disorder from the side of Allu. He must have been little more cautious, as our friend Shekhar just said. We do not know who is really guiding Allu Arjun. It is a very, very preposterous thing to conduct a press meet, because the same day the chief minister in the assembly, he was so infuriated and he was incensed and spoke at length. About 40 minutes he spoke in the assembly.
Right.
And whatever the language he expressed, Allu Arjun expressed before the media, has reflected like in a way that he was talking against the remarks that made by the chief minister. It all, it's a natural disaster. There is nothing to do with any other political party, or he does not have any political aliens. And the other important, most important thing is, Jagan Mohan Reddy's YSRCP party is unnecessarily claiming Allu Arjun, and they are putting the photograph of Allu Arjun on their vinyls in Andhra Pradesh, along with its birthday flexes.
Right.
It is unnecessarily wrong information, wrong impression to the public, as well as to the government here also.
Right. Absolutely. It's giving a wrong impression, and that seems to be the problem in this case from the very beginning, Sai Shekhar. I think it's just gone out of control. It's a tragic case. I mean, a mother losing her life and a child, battling for his life, being maimed in that stampede. But I think now the controversy has really spiraled out of control. But Sai Shekhar, where do you see this heading? I mean, is there a resolution for this?
There will be.
Yes.
We have found resolution for British invasion on India. It's not as if it cannot be resolved or anything like that. But then I would like to say, you are asking Nagendra one question about the political influence the family commands.
Yes.
See, what happens behind the scenes, we don't know.
Right.
And there have been reports that Allu and Konidela families were not getting along very well in the recent past.
Right.
And so soon after the incident, and soon after Allu Arjun was discharged from the prison, he went and met his uncle, Mr. Chiranjeevi, who is the kind of patriarch of the family.
Yes.
And he also met Nagababu, who is going to take over as a minister in Chandrababu Naidu cabinet.
Yes.
And political connections are all too far and wide, and
right.
we don't know what is cooking behind, because Bandi Sanjay Kumar's allegation you have referred to.
Yes.
He was blaming the Congress again, you know, for all this chaotic situation.
Right.
But basically the fault lies with the film theatre.
Right.
And then the police should have been even more vigilant.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was not the case.
Right.
And yesterday one police officer had the gall to come and issue a statement against Allu Arjun, threatening him almost.
Right.
And the chief minister had to condemn that statement also in public domain.
Right.
And there was an attack on Allu Arjun's residence by some enthusiasts. This also I would say, when Chief Minister, when Allu Arjun was arrested, lot of canards were spread and lot of criticism was made against the Chief Minister personally also on social media handles.
Yes.
And this could be a reaction after Allu Arjun's press conference. The attack on his residence could be a natural reaction from a political party or those who are sympathizers of the Chief Minister.
Right.
But there will be political there is a political angle to the whole thing.
Right.
But I don't see Congress trying to, you know, arrogate that to itself.
Yes.
And, you know, portray itself as one of those who's participating in this game of one-upmanship politically.
Right.
So let the law take its own course.
Let the law take its own course, indeed, Sai Shekhar, and you know that's what seems to be the reading from this incident, very unfortunate incident, a stampede in a movie theatre where Allu Arjun went to attend the showing of the screening of his film Pushpa 2, the blockbuster, which now in recent days seems to have become a real life blockbuster as well, with all kinds of political parties jumping into the fray. But as our esteemed guests Nagendra Kumar and Sai Shekhar have said, the law must take its own course.